Yeah, sure, you betcha.
All right, have a good one, Paul.
You too. And here's a big wave for the video. Hi, everyone. I'm Paul Bunyan.
I'm Gary, and this is Coasting with Culture. I like to combine theme park visits and riding roller coasters with various cultural experiences around the world. This video is the beginning of another journey visiting different parts of the Midwest, beginning with a flight to Minneapolis, and then driving to the town of Brainerd to visit Paul Bunyan Land before continuing to North Dakota. While there, I had the opportunity to see antique signs and equipment, as well as Paul himself.
So this is a little unusual for me today because I am taking off to go on the next adventure this afternoon. I've gotten so used to early morning departures from Seattle or really late night departures that involve red eyes that it's kind of odd to be leaving from the condo at such a middle of the day time. You know, the sun's still out, it's a nice day here, but today I'm on my way to Minneapolis.
It was back to good old Seattle-Tacoma International Airport to head east for this journey, taking another flight with trusty old Alaska Airlines. With a bit of extra time, I went to scope out the progress on the new walking bridge that will connect the South Satellite with the main terminal building, allowing planes to taxi underneath. There was still a lot to be done, but it will be a neat touch to the airport. Thanks to SeaTac being Alaska's primary hub, there are a lot of direct flights from here, including to Minneapolis.
So they're calling people onto the plane. I guess it's time to get ready to head over to Minnesota.
You could tell pretty easily this was one of the old Virgin America planes, since it was an Airbus 320. The interior is still with the seats they used in the past that had the old in-flight entertainment screens. While you can watch the flight map to see your progress, even it's in denial that it's a part of Alaska Airlines. I'm a bit partial to the Boeing 737s of Alaska, but they have been refreshing some of their Airbuses that they'll have for a longer time.
Welcome to Minneapolis. The local time is 10:55 p.m. Thank you so much for choosing Alaska Airlines today. We hope to see you again soon. Have a great night.
Just waiting for my baggage at baggage claim here, but real quick before that happens, I want to tell you that if you do find yourself at the Minneapolis airport here in Minnesota, you can take the light rail here and it'll take you to the Mall of America. Got my bag. Now we're going to go get the rental car to head to the hotel for the night.
An eastbound afternoon departure meant a nighttime arrival, leaving only one thing to do at the hotel.
Well, I'm calling it a night, going to bed, and then tomorrow I'm going to drive to the Dakotas. Good night, everybody.
It wouldn't be a very long night's sleep, though, as the next morning I'd hit the road early.
So it is a beautiful morning to start a nice long drive today out of Minneapolis. And in fact, pretty much this entire week's going to be a long, long drive. So I'm starting in Minnesota and making my way over to North Dakota today. Then tomorrow I'll be crossing into South Dakota. And then the next day we'll be heading back to Minnesota, where I'll be meeting up with my friends Chris and Joanna. From there, we're going to go over to Davenport, Iowa the next day after we have a chance to hang around Minneapolis. We'll then make our way over toward Des Moines for a stop in Altoona, and then finally we'll be heading on up north to Minneapolis again, where we'll spend the rest of our time for this trip.
In previous Minnesota visits, I was just passing through on Interstate 90 or making an airport connection. This time, however, there were a lot of back roads passing by many of the lakes. After a couple hours, I made it to the first stop of the Midwest trip.
Made it to Paul Bunyan Land just outside of Brainerd, Minnesota. Time to go and take a look inside the park and see what there is here.
In the entrance building, the first thing I noticed was the large collection of old Paul Bunyan Land souvenirs on display. Plates, glasses, figurines. They also had an old slot machine that dispensed tokens from the park. Little did I realize this lunchbox had a bit more of a literal meaning, as we'll see soon. After paying the admission, it was time to explore Paul Bunyan Land. And right away, there is a feature that's hard to ignore.
So upon entry into Paul Bunyan Land, you come to these giant footsteps that are on the ground from the entry door, and then they lead to Paul Bunyan himself. There he is. Hi, Paul.
Oh, looks like I'm on video, eh?
Absolutely.
Hello, Gary.
Hi there.
All the way from Seattle.
Yes, sir.
Welcome.
Thank you. That's so cool.
So that's what the lunchbox meant. This massive tribute to American folklore stands at 26 feet tall, easily making anyone feel tiny. The ability to interact with him is really cool. I'd talk to him again a bit later. Throughout the place there is all kinds of wacky items, like a Bunyan-sized shopping cart and a Bunyan-sized wagon. A large portion of the park is dedicated to taking a look back in time.
The woman at the front told me that there was something like 40 different buildings back in this area for people to explore from the past. All kinds of antique equipment inside. Inside one of these garages, they have an old 1924 Ford Model T, and according to the sign on the window, this was used in a movie called Iron Will. Looks kind of like Babe, maybe a little bit on the smaller side, so maybe it's Babe's little brother. So this is really kind of cool to see all this old nostalgic equipment on display here on this side of the park, but to be entirely honest, I really had one motivating factor for coming to this park.
Along with the look back in time, Paul Bunyan Land has a number of carnival rides for their visitors. They're located behind and beside Paul's cabin and include many of the staples like the merry-go-round, tilt-a-whirl, Ferris wheel, and a lot of smaller rides for the kids. Of course, one of these rides played a big factor in my decision to visit Paul Bunyan Land. So it's not the biggest ride, but these older oval coasters can still be fun.
And for us coaster riders, it's another shameless credit. Yes!
As I thought about it though, some may not be able to ride, and I thought I should ask him about it.
Paul, I got a question for you.
Yes. What is it, Gary?
So, you have a bunch of rides here at your land, but it doesn't seem like any of them are tall enough for you to ride. How do you go about going on rides if they're not tall enough for you?
Oh, the rides are just for the little ones, like yourself.
Well, certainly appreciate you having a fun place to explore. You got really cool old equipment to see and a couple of fun rides to enjoy as well.
Yeah, there's plenty to do here. So glad you like it here too.
Well, I think I'm going to be making my way over to Fargo here soon, but I appreciate you having the place available for us to check out.
Yeah, sure, you betcha.
All right, have a good one, Paul.
You too. And here's a big wave for the video. Hi, everyone. I'm Paul Bunyan.
Before hitting the road again, I took a quick look in the gift shop to see what they have available. If you're looking for something Paul Bunyan, Minnesota, or flannel based, they've got you covered.
So that was Paul Bunyan Land, a really fun little park outside of Brainerd here. And, you know, with the antique farm equipment, a couple of amusement rides, the giant Paul Bunyan that talks to you, which is really cool. You know, this was a fun stop. This is definitely a place that's worth a couple hours away from Minneapolis. You know, if you're going to the northern part of Minnesota, you can make your way over here to Brainerd for a quick stop and visit Paul Bunyan Land. But for me, the next stop is going to be heading over toward Fargo to go into North Dakota and take it off my list of states to visit.
Thank you for watching this video from Coasting with Culture. If you haven't already done so, please consider clicking that subscribe button down below if you'd like to see future videos. You can also find Coasting with Culture on Twitter and Facebook as well. And of course, for more travel experiences, visit coastingwithculture.com. Until next time, take care and safe travels.